Hello and welcome to the Posers Podcast, the place where we skip the fluff, say the quiet parts out loud, and dig into what really matters. This is where photography, psychology, and business collide. I'm Jody, your host, and I'm bringing you my raw takes, hard wins, and a whole lot of unfiltered honesty about what it takes to build a photography business that actually connects and makes money. So ladies, grab your headphones and get your tits up and your ears open because we are going to build something really incredible together. Well, ciao, my beautiful posers, or my Bella posers. I am so that tourist right now who is trying to use Italian because she's simply been in Italy. I should start saying like croissant. Croissant. That's French. But anyways, I am, as of the time of this episode being dropped, I am still in Italy on my family vacation. But in real time, actually, at the time of this recording, I have not even left yet for my Italian vacation. I actually leave tonight on the red eye. We fly into London and then connect into Venice. And I am very excited. So if you hear that sort of excitement in my voice, that is why. Whenever I start recording, whenever I come back from vacation and I am jet lagged and exhausted and broke and sad that I won't be in Italy for a long time, you'll maybe note the difference in my voice in between those weeks. But for today, I am very excited. I also have a really great episode for you today because I want to talk about the thing that I actually refused to learn and the thing that has cost me the most money. And I think about this moment more than almost any other moment in my entire career and the entire building of my business. I was at a photo conference. This was so many years ago, back whenever I first started my business, 2013, 2014, something like that. And I thought that I was there for business. I thought that I was at this conference wanting to, this is the same like time frame that I've told you about, that I went to these conferences and that everything was about like, you know, the motivational speaker and all of the women in floral and everybody crying together to these motivational like talks and all of that. And there was the styled shoots, and really like I was there for the styled shoots. I was there for the pretty. I was there for all of those things. But I've told you before that I ended up at the bar and like actually making really, really, really great relationships with some incredible business owners that I still very much have in my life today. But still, even though I was thinking that I was there to sort of, I don't know, move my business forward, clearly I was not, because I was standing in, I remember this so vividly. I was walking through this hallway and this guy comes up to me, a man, a total stranger. He's obviously a photographer, though he has the look of a man photographer. Okay. But he starts trying to convince me to go sit in on this breakout session about sales because the room was honestly empty, right? All of the other breakout sessions were about all of these other pretty amazing things, you know, website templates and branding and posing and all of the things that all of the women wanted to be learning about. And this room about sales, this breakout session that was geared toward sales, was completely empty. So he was out in these streets. Okay. He was out in the hallways of this conference. He was trying to get people to come in. And I told him no, like flat out no. I remember exactly how I felt saying it too. This little like flash of absolutely not. That is not what I am interested. I would never in a million years want to be that pushy, that salesy person. I didn't want to run a business like that. I just wanted to do a photo shoot. I wanted to be all inclusive. I wanted to charge one flat number on the front end. And then I wanted to hand over every single digital that I took. That was it. That was my whole business model. Also because I was a wedding photographer at the time. So I really didn't understand the idea of having a different pricing model inside of my wedding photography business and having something completely different in my portrait business. I did not separate the two. Okay. But my God, if I could go back and slap myself across the face with one lesson, It's this one. It's in this exact hallway, this exact man, this exact moment. I don't even remember how long it was, but I would go back and I would grab myself by the shoulders and I would say, Jody, listen to this man. And that means something coming from me, because I don't think I have ever once in my life been like, Jody, you need to listen to a man, right? But this one, I wish that I had, because the amount of money that I left on the table by refusing to understand sales, by refusing to even entertain the idea that selling was a skill and not something greasy and gross. Honestly, the amount of money I left on the table is nauseating. It genuinely makes me want to throw up just thinking about it. It is vomit inducing. All right. So today's episode is me handing you the thing that I wouldn't walk into that room for. And I want to break down my sales framework in the clearest breakdown of how an actual sales conversation should flow. There are 8 steps to this framework, and I want to give it to you in a very quick, very bite-sized version today, because talking about sales, it is huge. You know what? We just went through a whole entire series talking about luxury and how big of a conversation that is. And I bet you with sales, I bet you I could triple the length of those conversations. Okay. But I'm going to give you the bones of it, because I think that every single one of you needs to have this in your back pocket. And I also want to be really clear about something before I dive into this, that this is not just theory for like, me to sort of be like teaching you something here on a podcast. This is not something that I've made up. This is not just like, oh, hey, try it this way and it should work for you. This is the exact conversation structure that you should have based on sales psychology. All right. And this also goes with discovery calls with people wanting to book a shoot. And then also, if you run IPS, then this is the exact structure for your sales room also, because sales, no matter what, is the same 8 steps, the same order. It doesn't matter if you are booking a mini session or if you're selling $15,000 worth of artwork. Okay. So same exact process, same exact order, same exact steps. So let's dive in. Step number 1, we are going to isolate their desire. If someone reaches out wanting family photos, that is not usually what they actually want. They want a result. Maybe it's something like, I want my kid's childhood captured before they're grown, obviously. Maybe it's, I want to feel confident in front of a camera again after, I don't know, having a baby or losing a ton of weight or doing something. Your job on that call is to listen beyond the word photos and photo shoot and find what they are actually buying. Okay. Step number 2, you're going to isolate the challenge. So step number 1, isolate the desire. Step number 2, isolate the challenge. And what you're going to do while you are isolating the challenge is you are going to let them talk. You are not talking. You don't fill in any silence for them. You ask them what's been holding them back, and then you simply listen. And a lot of the time, this is the first time that they've actually said this part out loud, that they've been saying like, oh, I've been putting this off for 2 years, or I hate how I look in photos, or my kids are absolutely crazy and I don't think that they would cooperate. They're going to say the thing that has actually challenged them to not book this session before. And what you're going to do is you're going to repeat it back to them so that they know that you heard it. All right. Then step number 3, you're going to ask what they have tried before. So who else have they looked at? What have they already researched? Like, have they talked to other photographers before? Have they booked other photographers before and that flopped for them? This tells you everything about where they are comparing you and what they are weighing you against. Okay. Then step number 4, you're going to ask what didn't work about it. All right. So what turned them off from other photographers? What turned them off while they were on other photo shoots that they hated? What were the other options and why didn't that work? And this is absolute gold because people are usually much better at telling you what they don't want than what they do want. Okay. Step number 5, you're going to ask what they actually want. So you're going to go one layer deeper than step 1 because it's rarely just the photos of what the desire is. And you're going to see what they really want. And it's going to be something a little bit deeper. Like, I want to remember what this season of my life felt like, or I want my husband to look at me the way that he used to. And you need to get them to say it in their own words. All right. And then step number 6, you're going to ask, why now? All right. So this is the line in the sand. This is, why is this moment, out of every other moment that they could have booked a photo shoot, why are they now actually doing it? And this here, they're going to self-identify who they want to be, and you need to let them say it. So step number 7, explain why what you are offering works, and you're going to use their words. Now and only now is when you start talking. And when you do, you're not pitching. You're just a mirror. You're reflecting back everything that they just told you and showing them how what you do actually gets them there. All right. This is the only time that you actually speak quite a bit. All right. And then step 8, you're going to explain how it overcomes what didn't work before. So you're going to tie it directly back to step 4. If they said their last photographer felt rushed and impersonal, then you're going to tell them exactly how your experience is built to feel like the exact opposite of that. And then you're going to make the offer. And then you're going to say the number. And then, this is the hard part. This is where people stumble. You're going to ask them how they want to pay for the booking. And then you're going to stop talking. You're going to let it sit in silence, and you cannot rescue them from that silence by talking yourself down in the price or jumping in because it feels awkward and then over explaining more of your process. You simply have to let them respond. Here's what I want you to notice about this whole entire framework. For the first 6 steps, you are barely saying anything. You're just listening. That was the piece that I never understood back in that hallway, right? I thought that sales meant that you were manipulating people, that you were talking them into something, that you were, like I actually, even though it's not like, this isn't sales at all, but anytime that I picture like a used car salesman, then I picture like a used car like sales lot, and then I picture one of those big purple or those orange like inflatable things, like the little man that has the long arms that he's like flopping. So like anytime I think of a greasy salesman, I actually think about that thing, because I think in my head, I think that greasy type of sales is kind of like a clown. And so then my head goes to like the used car salesman plus that little like floppy floaty thing that's very clown-like. But that's what I used to think that sales meant. And so that's why I had the aversion to it. That's why I was like, no, absolutely not. I don't want anything to do with that. But that's not what sales means. That's not what it does. It means simply listening to someone into recognizing what they already want, and then showing them that what you have to offer is the obvious answer. It's literally just letting people sit and explain themselves and say what they really want. And then here's the kicker. If what they want isn't what you offer, then don't get salesy and don't get greasy and don't make them promises that you can't uphold simply because you want their money. Then it gets a little manipulative. Then it gets a little greasy, right? But whenever someone is sitting there and they are listing out the things that they want to make sure that they're feeling, and they're listing out the set of desires that they have and what they want to make sure that they have and what they want to make sure that they don't have, because they know what didn't work in the past, and your offer genuinely and truly is like a really great fit for them, then that is when sales can feel so incredible and so aligned, and you are simply showing up as the solution to their problem. So whether you're on a 15-minute discovery call before somebody books a session, or you're sitting across from a client in your sales room with their gallery pulled up, this is still the same exact conversation every single time. You are still going through this same exact framework. Let me run through it one more time as if you're sitting in a sales room. So step one, you're going to isolate their desire. Again, so you're going to sit down in your sales room. You're going to ask them, hey, how do you want to actually enjoy these photos? What is it about these photos that you love, that you want to make sure that you're either having them in an album, you're having them in the frames, okay? You're going to isolate the challenge. Step two, you're going to say, how come you haven't done this in the past? If you love album, you're telling me right now that you loved whenever you were a little girl, you used to climb up on your grandma's lap and you used to look at these family albums that she had. So if you're telling me that that's the desire that you have, why is it that you haven't done this before? Why is it that this hasn't worked for you before? Okay. Then, so you're going to have that challenge, that isolation of that challenge. I got that out of order because I skipped ahead a step. Okay. Isolate the challenge first, ask them what's been holding them back. And then you're just listening there. Then you're stepping in for step number 3 and asking them what they've tried before. So that would be isolating the challenge. You're sitting there and saying, okay, why is it that you haven't been doing this thing that you're telling me that is so important to you? And then asking them what they've tried before. So then they're saying, okay, well, I did try to do an album one time, but I sat down. It took me 2 hours. I only got a quarter of the way through it. I couldn't get the design done. It takes too long, blah, 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 right? So then that's what they've tried before. And then you ask them, step 4, what didn't work about it? Okay, so even if you're talking about frames in some other regard and you're asking them, okay, so you're telling me that you loved your grandma's house, that it had like these hallways that were lined with frames. You felt this sense of belonging. You absolutely loved looking at family photos like that. So then what didn't work about it? You went to Target, you got these frames, you put them up on your wall, and then what did you realize? And then they'll say something like, oh my God, well, the scale was all wrong. I got photos that were way too small. Or they'll say, I got to Target and I had no idea what I was doing. I had no idea what size I needed. I had no idea what type of frame I needed. So I just got stopped and sort of like blocked in the process. And then it's one of those tasks that just gets tossed to the back burner. Okay. So that's step 2, 3, and 4. Then step 5, you're going to ask them what it is that they really, really want. And you're going to say like, okay, so you're telling me that you want this thing, but you've had all of these problems getting to it. So what is it? If we could sit down right now and we could like actually give you this dream, what would it look like for you? And then step 6, you're asking, okay, so why now? What is it about it that's different right here, right now, that's actually going to make you do this thing? And the best part about step number 6 is that they are almost always going to say, well, you're here helping me. And that's major because they're recognizing it. Okay, I now have an expert who's sitting here in front of me and they're going to understand the sizing. They're going to understand what frames I need. They're going to look at my interior design. They're going to know whether or not I need modern or contemporary or vintage or whatever. Okay. So then step 7, you're going to explain what about your offer works using their words. So you're going to go back in and you're going to be like, okay, here's what I hear you saying to me. Here's why this has been hard for you. Here's what you've tried. And now we're sitting here together and I can actually solve all of these problems for you. Right. And then step number 8, we're tying it back into step number 4. Again, we're explaining how what we do overcomes everything that didn't work for them before. And then we drop the amount We drop the number, we say the offer, and we simply say, I've just solved this problem for you. Now, how would you like to pay for this? Would you like to put it on your debit card, or would you like to get the points on your credit card? All right. And then you stop talking. Again, you let it sit in that silence. You do not rescue them. They have to give you the answer about what they want to do. Obviously, this is a much bigger conversation, but like I said, I wanted to give you the nuts and the bolts of it so that you at least have this framework and that you have it in your back pocket. And like I said before, whether you're on a 15-minute discovery call before the session is booking, or you're sitting across from them in the sales room, this framework is the exact conversation that you should be having in any sales situation every single time. Okay? So put it in your back pocket. Actually, don't put it in your back pocket. Put it on your computer screen. Study it, learn it, stick it into your Claude, stick it into your chat, expand upon it, grow, learn from there, and go crush it the next time that you are in any sort of situation where you are trying to convince somebody to either book a session with you or go all out and do a big, huge gallery wall that you can charge $10,000 or $15,000 for. All right, that is all I have for you today. Ciao, 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 my beautiful posers. I'm just kidding. That's all I've got. Bye for now, posers. Okay, so that is a wrap on this episode of the Posers Podcast. If you loved it, please subscribe, rate, and review, because honestly, algorithms are needier than all of our ex-boyfriends combined, and ladies, I need all the help I can get. If you've got thoughts, questions, love letters, even hate mail, please send them my way. I actually read every single one of them. So until next time, stay bold, stay messy, and don't let the bullshit win. Tits up, ears open, and go build something incredible. Bye for now, friends.